Hello, students. Now we'll be starting our economy part 2. So, part 1 we have already done of December month, and this will be the last video for our December month current affairs. After that, we'll be starting very quickly with the January current month. Right. So, first one is National Infrastructure Pipeline. So, we have already discussed National Infrastructure Pipeline in our budget. Okay. So, first time we are discussing in the current affair because it was the report came in the December month, and finally it got reiterated into the budget. Right. So the idea is that the government will invest around 1.4 trillion, that is 104 lakh crore over 5 years, next 5 years, to achieve a very good infrastructure. Now, infrastructure both, they are including both physical infrastructure and the social infrastructure. An overarching idea is to achieve the $5 trillion economy, right? And infrastructure will be a very key component of it. So it will be consist of our economic and the social infrastructure. Economic infrastructure consists, first of all, you should know, like social infrastructure also, that includes education, health, skill, sports, all these things. And economic infrastructure includes road, railways, shipping, steel, these things, right? So it will consist of obviously some greenfield. What is greenfield? That is right from the scratch. So making projects from the beginning itself. And brownfield means, for example, some city is built, they want to renovate it, retrofitting of the buildings. These things are considered in the brownfield projects. Or for example, there is an airport, say they want to augment its capacity, so that's a brownfield project. But they want to make a new airport right from the start, that will be a greenfield project. Okay. The financing part of it, so some financing will come from the center, some financing will come from the state, and some financing will come from the private sector. Okay. So the idea is to 102 lakh crore rupees, a huge investment. So they have decided in which sector they want to invest a lot of money. I don't think this is too much important, but however, you should remember that highest is given for the roads, then urban and housing, because it is mentioned in the budget. That is why we should go a relatively bit deep. So just remember that obviously health and education are on the lighter end, and the road, urban, housing, railways, these are at the heavier dimensions of the NIP. Okay, you can see 80% of the NIP is roads, urban, housing, railways, and the power and irrigation, right? So this is the infrastructure vision 2025. So this was in the report was released in the December month. Now this one is the right taken from the budget slide itself. In the invisible hand, you should see budget video once, or at least download the PDF from our Telegram channel, right? So this is what it was mentioned. So around 103 lakh crores of the national infrastructure pipeline have been announced, and now the government is taking up slowly, right? Next, we're gonna see that is infrastructure leasing and financial service. So there was a ILNFS crisis was there, right? So what was the crisis? So basically, it is an institution in which one of the majority stakeholder is LIC. 25% stakeholder is of LIC, right? Some of the banks, SBI, central banks are also this part. So what it used to give? It used to give a long-term loans to the port, infrastructure, these things, right? So why it was in the news? It defaulted on its payment on its debt instrument. So let's see what it was. So first of all, ILFC is the systematically important non-deposit core investment company. So first of all, it is an NBFC, and NBFC which is systematically important. What does systematically important means? It means that if anything happens to this NBFC or happens to this particular entity, then it will have a contagion effect on the economy. It will have a domino effect on economy. That means if anything happens to this particular entity, then the other sectors which are dependent on it, that will also take the beating. For example, LIC being the major holder, SBI and all the banks are being taking the shareholders, they will also take the beating, and overall economy will suffer. And that is why they are known as systematically important. Okay, right? So the RBI rules for this, you should read about it. So these are basically in your static syllabus, that will come under your NBFC. Okay. Now what was the crisis? So for example, ILF and FS, so it has obviously balance sheet has some assets and some liabilities. So liability means from where it takes the money, right? So it has some long term borrowing and some short term borrowing. For these borrowing, they have to pay some interest, some payment they have to give, right? And using this money, they give a long term lending to infrastructure, ports, and highways. However, what happened? You know, this happened. So a lot of problem on this end. So land acquisition problem, governance bottlenecks, delayed projects. So they did not get enough money. So if they did not get enough money from their income, how will they pay to their? From there, they have taken the money. Along with that, there were some problems from the corporate governance side. Okay, so there were some problems from the corporate governance side. So they have given some of the loans, these loans to the relatives, some loans to the relatives, and some due scrutiny was not done. So that created a lot of bad asset, the junk asset, and that is why they are not able to not able to pay the interest regularly, and from there the crisis unfolded. So there were problems with respect to the auditing, there were problems with respect to the corporate governance, right? Regulation problems was there. So they had a lot of massive debt and unable to service their dues, and that was the main problem. That is why it came into the news, right? So this much is we should know about, from prelims perspective, we should know about core investment company which are systematically important and what are the RBI guidelines for that. A similar concept associated with that, side pocketing. So what is this concept? Let us understand that, then we will move forward. So side pocket is basically a concept. For example, SBI is holding some of the shareholding of the ILNFS. Now this is having bad loans. This is not giving the particular return. So the idea of side pocketing is to, for example, this is the portfolio of SBI. So they will side pocket this particular ILFS, that will be illiquid funds, right? So it will be some illiquid funds. They will segregate this within their own investment portfolio. So this is the whole portfolio of SBI. So they will, one second, yeah. So they will take this one out. So they will not consider that, this will be considered as illiquid, and this will be considered as their normal portfolio, and on basis of this they will get the credit rating, and this will be resolved later on, right? So this is the concept as SEBI brought about, right? So this is side pocketing. So if the question comes, if the question will come with respect to side pocketing, a very small and very easy question will come, right? So just remember that side pocketing is a concept given by SEBI to segregate some bad loans or the bad investment from the good investment, so that the good investment should not suffer because of some of the bad investment. That is the whole idea of the side pocketing, and this much is relevant for us. Otherwise nothing tough question will be asked on it. If you see the previous year question from UPSC on the basis of finance, they have asked really shallow level questions, because they do not want you to have a very deep knowledge of economics. They want you to have a very general and you should know what is going on, but they do not want to go into very deep of finance, right? We're preparing for a general UPSC exam, not a very RBI exam or any other specific economics exam, right? The next we're going to discuss in a very detail, that is operation, before starting, operation twist. Now again I'll tell you, operation twist will be very important for our prelims. Okay, so before discussing the operation twist, let us discuss few of the concepts. First is OMO, that is open market operations, and then we will discuss bonds and bond yields. Okay, and what is the relation of the bond yields with the bond price? Let us start with the this open market operation. So you must be knowing in your static, obviously you must have read in the banking, very important topic, that monetary policy tools, right? So there are two type of policy. One is the fiscal policy, that is decided by the government, where they decide the tax rate, right? Tax disinvestment decision, tax rates, and all these things. So these are fiscal on the level of the government. And next policy is the monetary policy, that is by the central banks. In this case of India, it is RBI. Okay, so what are the RBI's monetary policy tools with which it shapes the other economic parameters such as inflation, exchange rate, and all other things, right? The liquidity in the economy. So these things are decided by the RBI's monetary policy tools. So what tools they have? First is the quantitative tools, I think these are very static things. Then qualitative tools. In the quantitative tools, they are known as indirect tools. Now many of the aspirants are confused why the quantitative tools are known as the indirect tools and the qualitative tools as the direct tools. Why? Because directly, for example, repo rate, I hope you know this. So repo rate directly, RBI does not give money to the people, RBI give money to the banks, and RBI give from bank, it goes to the people, right? So because I have put this question in my offline classes and many of the students were confused that the quantitative tools are the direct tools or indirect tools. So just remember that these are the indirect tools. The important tools are these only, right? So these are the tools, indirect tools. They are also known as the general tools, whereas qualitative tools are known as the selective tools and direct tools. Okay, right. So one of the tool, I'm not going to discuss every one, obviously. I'm going to discuss open market operations because that is what operation twist is associated with. Let's start. So open market operation is basically the idea that RBI will do the sale and the purchase of the government securities. So do you remember we have discussed PDMA, Public Debt Management Agency. When we are discussing that, I told you that RBI has the dual function of the RBI, and because of which it has to be segregated. If you remember, previously we have discussed that. So the government, the RBI takes care of the government security, and with respect to open market operation, it takes care of the liquidity in the economy. For example, like this is the scenario. For example, RBI wants, there is a lot of liquidity in the market, like, so they want to flush out the liquidity. So RBI, what RBI will do? They want to take cash out of the market, cash to the RBI, right? So they will sell some government security. So the people will buy the government security, right? People or not people, banks will buy the government security. The stakeholders will buy the government security and they will put the cash to the RBI. So it will suck out the liquidity. So sucking out the liquidity, they are fighting the inflation. I think these are very basic concepts. I hope you know it. So we don't want to take a lot of time in discussing those, right? So with respect to open market operations, with purchasing and the buying of the government security, RBI tackles the inflation in the market, right? So this is written, okay, and that is what I've just mistaken out. RBI carries of OMO only with the commercial banks, not with the public. Obviously, I told you these are the indirect tools. I'm really sorry. So these are only with the commercial banks. So if they want to suck out the liquidity, the commercial banks will buy the GSEC and give the money to the RBI. And with this, the liquidity will be sucked and inflation will be targeted. Next, we're going to discuss bonds and the bond yields. Just pay attention because you already know OMO. All these things are very basic. But sometimes we miss out the concept of the bond yields. Let us discuss very quickly what the bond is. So bond is very easy. Bond is like a loan, right? Bond is a document. So 1000 rupees I'm giving you. One person gives bond to the next person. Okay, 1000 rupees I'm giving you. After 10 years, you pay me 1000 rupees. This is the security or the bond. You pay me the interest rate and the principal amount, right? So it's a debt instrument issued by the country's government. So when issued by the government, it is known as the government bond, or it is called in India as the government security, called in the US as the treasury bills, right? Or by a company can also float its bond, right? We have already discussed corporate bond market. If you remember, we have already discussed that. And obviously the idea is to raise the fund, okay, and having maturity period of more than 1 year. So bond basically has the, now we are talking about the government bonds. So it has two things. This is like that. So the government bond, first of all, it has a face value. So this is a 1000 rupee bond, okay, and these are the coupons. These coupons represent the interest rate. Now if you see, I have made a very clear diagram. So this is a bond. So government has issued 100,000 rupee bond, for example, to the people for 10 years, and they will pay 10% yield, 10% rate of return, and rate of return is known as the yield, Now, how the person will get the interest every month? In the form of the coupon payment. So the overall interest will be 1000 rupees. So every year he will go and take the 100 rupee coupon payment, and he will go and take the interest from the government, and if he show the coupon, and the government will give the money back, right? Very easy. So every year he will go and he will take this coupon out, and he will go to the government. Literally he will take the coupon out, that's the whole thing, and the government will give the money for 100 rupees, and after 10 years government will return this 1000 rupees along with the last coupon, right? So this is the bond, this is the face value, and this is the coupon value. Now what is bond yield? Bond yield is the 10%. 10% is the bond yield, the rate of return. So that is the effective rate of return is the bond yield. Okay. Now let us discuss this. Now let us assume that after a person has this particular bond, and he has taken two bonds from the government. Okay. Now this is the situation. After 2 years, he has taken these two coupons out. He got 200 rupees, and already he has the bond. Now, for example, the economy is not doing well, right? So the people, if the economy is not doing well, where will people invest? In the secure investment, and one of the most secure investment is the government security. So obviously the people will go towards the government security. Okay, the demand of the government security will rise, obviously, because that is one of the secure investment. People are not trusting the share market. People are not trusting the company bonds, because they do not know how the company will do. For example, COVID, people do not know how the company will do, so they will go towards the government security. So the demand of the government security will increase, obviously. So if the government, obviously, that if the demand increases, then the price will increase, obviously. If you see whatever the vegetable cost right now, because the demand is less, demand is high, and supply is less, then prices are also high. If the prices are high, then the yield is low. This is the main thing that we need to understand. When the price of the government security is high, the yield is reduced. Now this is what we need to understand, how it happens. So now the price has increased, so that 1000 rupee bond has become, let us assume, 1100 rupees. Economy is not doing well, and there is a demand of the government security has increased, and that 1000 rupee bond has, the value of the bond has increased, and it has become 1100. Okay. Now what will happen? Now the person who has the this, he decides to sell the bond to the next person. Now the next person will buy the bond at 1100. He will buy the bond at 1100. Okay. Now imagine the government is saying we will pay only 10% of the yield. 10% we will pay. So he will get 10%, only 100 rupees, because that is already decided. So instead of getting the 1110 rupees of this, 10% of this will be 1110. However, he will get only 100 rupees. Getting my point? He should get 10% of this, 1110 rupees. However, the coupons are already fixed, so he will get only 100 rupees. Now do the CSAT. 100 upon 1100 into 100, it will be less than 10. So yield has decreased, right? So bond yield has decreased. Getting my point? Very easy to understand. So the bond price has increased, but the person will get the lower yield. Okay. So that is the relation. When the price rises, yield decreases. When the price falls, then the yield increases. Very easy. Getting a point? It is a relatively tricky to understand, so reverse the video, see it again, what I am trying to explain you. Okay. Now, so what is bond yield inversion? So bond yield inversion happens when, now there is a two type of bonds. Some are longer tenure bond, and some are short tenure bonds. So if the long tenure bonds yield is less than the short term tenure bond, then the economy is in recession, and this is not good for economy. Obviously, when yield for the long tenure is less, and the yield for the short term is more, then it is not favorable for the economy. Now this is the same thing explained. If the bond yield is less, more, then the bond price is less. Now we will discuss operation twist. Now operation twist already done in 11, 12 and 12 by the Fed Reserve. Okay, so on the basis of whatever done by the US, the Indian government is trying to do the same. The idea, overall idea, why they have done operation twist, because so that interest rate of the longer securities become less. For example, if you want to buy one house or one car, so you will be taking the loan which will be more than 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. So if you take big loans, your interest rate should be less, right? So government wants your interest rate to reduce so that your spending increases. When the private consumption increases, then the economy goes back on the track. Okay, so what is operation twist? The RBI or the Fed Reserve in the case of the USA, what it does two things simultaneously. It tells the short dated treasury or short dated G security, it will sell in the market and it will get some money. Obviously, it is selling some short dated securities. On the other hand, it is using the same money to buy the long dated security. Now let us see, if the RBI itself buys the long dated security, then the demand of this increases. Demand increases, so price increases, so yield decreases, and that is the same idea. Bas. That's it, that's the game. So if RBI themselves buy a lot of long dated treasury, then the demand increases, the price increases, and yield decreases. When the yield decreases, then people will get the big loans at the easy cost. Okay, so then now quickly we'll see operation twist by the RBI. It has been launched to increase the long-term investment in the country. So investment in the long-run investment. So invest in the house, invest in the car, invest in the big investment that you are doing in real estate. So increase those investments. Okay, and to influence the yields, which results in the twist of the yield curve. Okay, so they are doing the purchase and the sale of the government bonds. So they are purchasing the short term, they are selling the short term bonds and purchasing the long term bonds. And it has been done by the US Federal Reserve from 2011 to 2012 to boost up their economy. The same India RBI wants to do the same. So what exactly they'll be doing? So they will buy 4-term government securities, 10-year bonds worth 10,000 crores. So they have bought this long-term security and they're selling 1-year bond worth the same. So what total cost they are playing with 10,000 crore. Okay, so this is what they'll be doing in the open market operations. So this is the same. So long-term bonds, buying of the long-term government security, short-term bonds, selling of the short-term government securities. Okay, so so basically it will, in the long run, that we already discussed, it will bring down the rate of interest on the long-term loans and increase the rate of interest on the short-term loans. So making sure that the long-term loans become easy, and obviously when the short-term loans will be higher than the long-term loans, people will go for the longer. That is being expected, and that has been observed also. So what it was observed here, you can see in this diagram. So when the final decision has come after the RBI has decided the operation twist, the yield of the long-term loans, 10-year and 14-year yield has decreased. Now the interest rate has fallen. Getting my point? So this is the idea behind operation twist. Okay, so I hope so. One more thing you need to do on your end, the repo rate, the passing of the repo rate to the people, why it is not happening, this thing you have to do on your own end. Okay, it was given in the economic survey 2 to 3 years back. I think that you must have covered that in your static economics. For example, RBI in its monetary policy operation reduces the repo rate, right? But at the end, to the customer, the interest rates are not reducing. Why is it so? What are the reasons, right? One thing you have to do on your end, that is double financial repression of the banks. So these things please do on your end. I hope that you must have done all these things in your static thing. That is why I'm not covering those. Okay. So please to cover all these, right? Okay, so I hope you understood the operation twist. I hope you understood the concept of the bond yield. That is a relatively tricky concept to understand, bond yield, because any day question on the bond yield can come. So question can be, with respect to if economy is going into the recession, what happens to the bond yield? Okay, they can ask you to compare between the government bond and the corporate bond. So just apply the concepts. If you know the concept in detail, you will be able to get the answer, right? Okay, so this is the end of our session. Let us quickly revise what we have done. We started with national infrastructure pipeline. We have discussed that. I told you in the budget it is mentioned, so please do prepare for it. Very small things to be done, physical and social infrastructure, and also remember in which sector the majority of the investment is there. Then we discussed why the problem of IL&FS crisis has come. Then side pocketing concept introduced. If the question the side pocketing, the question will come, so it will be a very easy question. Side pocketing is in the news. Why? So option will give, they will relate to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, something. So it will be a very easy question, shallow level question will be asked on it. Then we started with operation twist. We build up some of the concepts such as open market operation, bond yield and bond price. Then I've told you in detail how it basically happens. And finally, we discuss operation twist, right? So with this, we finish our session. So also along with the economy, our December month current affair are finally over. So 2019 we are leaving. Now we are entering into 2020. Okay, with the next video in January. So see you in the next class, everyone. Thank you. Please download one more thing. Please download all the PDFs from our Telegram channel. All the PDFs of this session are available. I'll strongly recommend you to revise from PDF. Revise. The more you revise, and one of the best way to revise current affair by the images. That is why we are putting a lot of and lots of images, so that you can scroll down your phone, in your tab, in your laptop. Don't take the printouts, I'll say. For that, we have already created one segregated PDFs we are making. So what my suggestion will be, just scroll down the PDFs and it will help you. I'm telling you, like anything, I got really good feedbacks from the students who are saying, sir, it is very good to revise from the PDFs. Why? Because they are able to see the things, they are able to relate, and very when the things are beautifully arranged, then it becomes more incentivized to prepare for them, right? So see you in the next class, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.